To me, agoraphobia now is just a habit. Thinking of it in that way has helped me to deal with it and feel less like a victim and more like somebody who can control and even change it. When we think of agoraphobia, we think of the anxiety that we get about going into a public place or being somewhere we might not get help if we have a panic attack. And that anxiety mobilizes you or motivates you to stay in your safe zone. That's your reward for giving into the habit. But just like every other habit, I think it can be changed using similar steps. At least that's been my experience so far. When I was 18, I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. One time I went to visit my mother's best friend in the hospital. She was passing away from cancer. And seeing the destruction of that, she was an avid smoker, by the way. That was motivation enough for me to leave the hospital that day and say I'm never going to touch another cigarette again. And so that day began my journey of breaking that habit. I would get these urges to smoke, just like before. The only difference was I didn't want to give into the urge or that glimpse of how pleasurable it's going to be to smoke a cigarette that accompanies the urge. I wanted it to pass. So I would distract myself. I would chew gum or do something else. And I began to notice that after a couple minutes the urge would pass. And then after a certain amount of time the urges got less and less and less until eventually the urges just disappeared. And now they've actually been replaced with a feeling of sort of nausea if I smell a cigarette. That keeps me away from cigarettes. It's almost been reversed. So going through the agoraphobia and overcoming what I've overcome so far, I'm noticing parallels, right? So with the cigarette, the urge or the habit is to give in to the urge to smoke because I can foresee that pleasure of smoking the cigarette. Or with agoraphobia, the habit is to give in to the urge of moving away from a place that for some reason I deem scary to feel the relief of being in my safe zone. But applying techniques and philosophies and perspectives that I've learned over the way has helped distract me during those urges and has moved me to a point where I only have 2 things on my list now, my agoraphobia list, to accomplish. One I've already set out doing. So in these next 8 videos I'm going to highlight these things that have helped me. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, I'm not medically educated formally in this arena, but I have real life experience, so this is what I offer to you. These are going to be tips and techniques such as mindfulness, progressive muscle relaxation, visualization, even philosophies, ways of looking at things, of sitting with them, maybe changing your perspective. And if I can offer you this, this bout of agoraphobia has actually turned me into a more peaceful person. I feel like a better person than I was before it. So in a way it's kind of turned into a blessing. And maybe it's the same for you. It may not feel like it right now, but hopefully one day you'll look back and say, I get it. I get why it happened. Seeing my mother's best friend go through the cancer was the motivation for me to quit smoking. Seeing everybody else out there enjoying their life was the motivation for me to tackle the agoraphobia. You have to find the motivation for you. You have to dig deep and look for it. It's there. You just have to look for it. And the courage, that champion spirit that's in all of us is also in you. I know sometimes it can feel lonely, but there's millions of people across the globe that go through the same thing. So you're not alone. And if you just do a quick Google search, there's plenty of people that are willing to offer you helping hand or a kind word. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm sure other people that you know believe in you. Now you just have to believe in yourself. And before you know it, this will all be behind you. It's possible.